But this is the actual shrinkage right here on this image. So the Nova represents the absolute extreme end of this whole resize thing, right? It and the catapult were pretty similar. They were like they're the extreme examples. They're way off. So this Nova, I believe, is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 18% reduction. Now, 18% doesn't sound like a lot, but 18% global reduction is a huge amount. And so what you're looking at here, I believe, is an 18% global reduction in size.
Paul said
So,
it's because you dipped it in cold water, apparently.
ah,
Shrinkage.
yeah. So there you go. Now this is just a little something because I know a lot of people about talking about the rescale, wanting to get an update, wanting to know what's going on. So here's a little something. This is I'll say it like this: we have the science completed. We now know the exact numbers for every single mech in our game, all 60 plus unique chassis. Not counting variants, of course, all 60 plus unique chassis in comparison with where they are and what they should be. So we've got an actual volumetric measurement for every single one of them in comparison with each other. Um, this is the Nova with itself. So it's definitely much smaller, and it puts it right in there, the volumetric below with the, like with the war or sorry, Hunchback, and the Hunchback is one that basically falls right in line with where it should be, and there was a community, aspect with the scaling, and that was cool, and I appreciate that effort. And in many ways, it was very accurate and it was very good. It didn't take into consideration more of a volumetric measuring. It was much more of a frontal and side pixel measurement, which is cool and is very valid for gameplay in many ways, but not totally encompassing when it comes to LRMs falling in from the top or being above and shooting below and up and down and all the volumetric ways that gameplay comes into view. So there you go. I think that Nova, actually, you see that smaller one that's much more accurate to what you'd expect a 50-ton mech to look like. And I know it's hard to say because we don't have another mech in there. So we have that number now. The good news is we also have a lot of scripts and technology written now to do these reductions very painlessly. So timing wise, everyone's saying when. Well, um, it's not going to be March because March patch is already set. We're well past the cutoff date. Um, April, the QA department is like totally dedicated to Community Warfare Phase 3. It's a epic patch with epic amounts of stuff. So basically, I think the May patch. I know a lot of you guys would like to hear something sooner, like April, but the May patch would be. I don't know if it'll be all of them. I think worst case scenario is that we'll have half in May, half in June. I hope that's worst case scenario. Now that things, today was kind of the game changer. I think we made a lot of progress today, and it looks like it's working out very well. So maybe there's a chance we'll see almost totally inclusive aspect of all the, the resizing in the May patch. But I can't guarantee that every single one of them will be there. Now, what something will if May sounds like, oh my God, that's a long ways out. I'll just say this: this was a giant can of worms, and we're not talking about like 6 or 8 mechs now being resized. We're literally talking about like every single mech in the game, minus like maybe less than 10 that turned out to be kind of perfect, getting at least some, rescale, like whether it's like 1% rescale, 2%, 5%, 8%, 18%, rescaling everything to be perfectly in harmony with each other. So we want to do it right. As much as you'd like to hear it and that this is coming out sooner, we really have taken the time to do a volumetric measuring of every single mech in the game, do all of our research, create everything to like it is perfect.
So now I know that just rescaling one mech has a ton of work involved, whether it's the skin textures or the geo, the weapons and stuff like that. What I know that this wasn't originally on the docket. I mean, 6 months ago, we weren't talking about rescaling every single mech in the game. Was it because you found an efficient method for
Well,
doing this that all of a sudden?
last town hall, Russ was saying that,
Yeah.
guys, this is, what was
S-
the
what was the turning point to where you said we're just going to do this for everything?
Well, I think, and this is what we're always worried about. It's like, so this mech seems to be okay with that mech, you know, but then all of a sudden you come in there and you rescale the Nova to its proper size, and then the other mech that seems to be okay now is like, oh my god, it's fucking huge, right? Because the other one got rescaled properly. So we were always worried about that, and it kind of turned out to be true. And I guess good news is we got to a point where we felt we were kind of there's three different types of rescaling here at play. And this is just kind of our own terminology, but for your own sake, it's like, okay, you have global rescale. And what that means is you basically globally shrink the mech. And then maybe you go to the weapon systems and you start to do a little bit of hand picking of what gets scaled and not scaled. And then you have universal rescale, which is like, hey, this mech is only like, like 1% off total. So you do a 1% rescale on the entire thing, a total universal scale. And the weapons are fine too because it's like 1%. So you just do a universal rescale. And then there's another aspect where it's like, okay, we need to scale this mech down. But since it's already, super squat or whatever, once we do a global shrink on it, it's going to be like even more squat and all messed up. So then we call that a modular rescale, where it's like we scale the mech, but we're now going to have to go in and actually thin out the legs and thin out the torso and stuff like that. So there's actually three different types of rescale at play here. It's a lot of work. And so to answer your question, it's just sort of like, you know, there was two ways to go about this. We could have basically said, you know what? We're only scaling these 8 mechs that people are really bitching about, and that's it. And we'll just do the scales on that and go. We could have done that. But, as I thought, we kind of got caught up in it and said, okay, well, you know what? We got to do all these mechs. I mean, here we go. And so, we have Amit over here, and I'm going to call him out because he did a great job. He did all the science, and we looked at what the community did with their own scale chart, came up with our own method, kind of used a conjunction of the both. It took a significant amount of time, perhaps even like multiple hours per mech. So only maybe a couple of mechs a day to do a true volumetric test on the entire mech to get the entire volumetric volume of it. And then we did every mech. So we got a full chart of saying, okay, here's where they are today. Here's where they need to be. Here's the actual number of where the volume should be. And here's how we can scale that to get to the volume. And so now we have all the data. And Ryan Van Vliet, our technical artist, and yes, Ryan, I just called you out by name. Sorry about that, bud. Um, he's very good, and he's very good at creating scripts, and he's creating some very intelligent scripts that it will allow us to scale these mechs very painlessly, at least from a scale perspective. And there's always going to be additional bugs where it's like, well, okay, you need to retarget the textures or retarget or re-rig the animations. And really long answer to say, Darren, it's like it is what it is, man. It's like it's
Well, I approve.
we opened a can of worms, and
Yes.
it almost felt like there's no just doing these 8 mechs or whatever. It's just like we're gonna do everything, and that means that every single mech that gets done in the future, though, gets a volumetric test done to it, and it's gonna come out like perfectly sized based on the
Perfection.
science.
Absolutely.
So
Awesome.
I got a question, and this
Do
is in
you?
regard. Yes, I do. And first, I actually have a command, and that's drink. Two, what does this mean for gameplay, Russ? Because scale is a big part, whether a mech is effective or not. I mean, and so what does this mean for quirks? What does this mean for game balance? I mean, in the next few months, if you're talking about this coming out, would the Nova retain all of its structure and weapons and or any mech in that cause?
It means that the Nova will pretty much be like the second coming of our Lord. Basically, it's going to be, like a jump jet monster. It's going to be, you've heard tier 1 mechs thrown out. This is tier like -10. It's going to be so epic. It's going to just destroy. I mean, any team, any good community warfare team just needs one Nova and it's over.
Especially
Forget
that
about it.
original one that was next to the Atlas. So I do want
So
to.
you should buy a Nova. Just
Everybody
kidding.
should buy Novas now. You know what? They're going to be gone. All the factories are making them as fast as they can. Hey, I do want to hijack this real quick. And Phil,
Dude,
are you ready?
no, are you
I'm sorry.
ready?
I should try to answer his question before we move on.
Should
He
we make
totally
him?
hijacked
Should,
ours.
yeah,
It
should
means,
should we
Phil,
make him
very much
drink?
that we need to reassess the quirks before the rescales happen. Of course, I mean the Nova is given a lot of quirks to try and exist in its current mega oversized fashion. I mean, just look at that image right there, right? So
Sexy.
it's gonna have to be it's gonna I would suggest everyone should expect, and everyone's like, no, leave it like super no, come on, let's be realistic. I would suggest that when it's done, we're gonna look at it and we're gonna reassess its quirks just like we do when a new mech comes out. So obviously, worst case is that we just negate all the quirks and kind of release it and see how it does. I don't think that's the best approach. I don't think we'll look to do that. I think what we'll probably do is say, just like when the brand new Archer's coming out, we'll say, well, okay, here we go, brand new 50-ton mech. Look at its size and shape and speed, and does it have jump jets? Where is its hard points? What hard points does it have? Where are those hard points located? And we'll try to, and just, I guess, to give you some peace of mind, I think people feel like we've done a fairly good job with the Warhammer and the Marauder and the Rifleman and hopefully the Archer, and we're getting pretty good at this thing of assessing what its quirks should be. But you should expect that its quirks would be totally reassessed before it's released, and that goes with all the mechs, including the Catapult, which is probably very close to the Nova in its oversizedness. It's close to it's at least a 15 to 18% oversized aspect as well. It's huge. So we'll be doing that across the board as far as reassessing the quirks.
Awesome. Right. Okay, we're
So,
gonna take a few moments to celebrate, Russ. You get to celebrate with us.
You got to drink. Actually, this is
we're all gonna drink.
I think everybody needs to raise their glass and say and first, I just want to say thank you to you, Darren, for all the time and effort that you've put in. But
and then I want to say thank you to you, Phil, for all the time and effort you put in.
Well, thank you. And to hold on before.
Okay, my screen still says like 9,000.
We're at 10,003.
So how do I verify that? What do I
refresh?
I'm looking at it. We're at 10,003, and we hit the 10K, which means we have like at least a 12 to 24 hour stream ahead of us because you.
I committed.
And
he says 12 to 24. What he really means is 24 to 72.
Something like that, And so, anyways, I just want to say thank you guys so much. You're fucking amazing, and thank you so much for your support from every single follower to you guys being here. And again, if you don't follow the channel, maybe you enjoy the content every single day, and you've never quite understood why you've never clicked the follow button. Maybe today's the time you do it. But anyways, just want to say thank you to everyone
for less
who has.
The price of a cup of coffee. Also, we want to say thank you to everybody who has followed us tonight. And we had 2 resubs, Hefe and Ace's Poo. Thank you guys for resubbing. We'll wrap this up real quick. Thank you for all the support, guys. We appreciate it. It's been a great 3 years running this channel. We hope to grow a lot more with you guys in the future here. But we totally appreciate the support, each and every one of you, the follows included. Thank you, guys. Now let's get back.
And we had 2 new subs. Just want to shout.
Oh, we did?
Shout. Yes, we did. We had Kev Jack for 15 months in a row.
Kev Jack, thank you.
Frickin' thank you, Mech Bro. We also had Noise Crypt and Mace for our 2 new subs. Cheers to you guys. Drink up.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Right, I'm taking my third shot.
Seriously,
third shot of whiskey.
All the way.
Which somebody said
the last hour you didn't even take a single.
Somebody
shot.
said each shot is worth 2 beers, and I'm going to go with that. So
right,
You know what? it doesn't matter. It should be worth. If it's worth 3 beers, okay, I'll lay off now. There we
all
go.
right, all right. We're not endorsing.
And we
reckless
had a
drinking.
new sub, by the way, CK_16. Thank you, sub hype.
Thank you, CK.
The sub train is real. Back to the subject. Mech
All
porn.
right, so Russ, another thing that's been going through, here it is, Greystorm again. Everybody's been asking. I know there's not a lot of new news, but maybe you can say something briefly on the state of decals or decals wherever you come from.
I'm gonna say decals, just
Okay, let's
because
go
I
with decals.
like the sound of it. I mean, it just rolls
course.
off my tongue. Probably like, like most Canadians like to say things, but I don't know if that's even a Canadian thing or what. But it's like,
Decalus.
although I will say this, the Canada, like X, Y, Z, they say Z. I don't say Z. I've never said Z. If I ever did, I forgot about it. I say Z. So it's just kind of one of those things. So
Wait,
just-
decals ends with an S though. I don't. Where?
No, I'm
Decals
just,
with a Z?
I got sidetracked into like
No,
the
I know. I'm just fucking with
differences
you.
of Canada or whatever.
So
Fine.
when can we?
You know what?
When
Just
can
for
we
that,
paste?
I'm gonna go into Z mode. Here we
Okay.
go.
So
Z.
when can we paste the penis decals on our mechs? That's the
Well,
big
first
question.
off, the penis decals, all the dick pics are gonna have to wait because the initial release of the decal system is not going to include all the custom decals. Where like here, I'm gonna submit my own decal, and for the record, the dick pics are gonna get screened. Unless they're, impressive enough, then we might let them pass. But it's going to be screened, of course. So that is kind of a question. The whole custom decal thing, but the initial version of the decal system, it's sneaking up pretty quick here. I mean, I still believe, and we had one of our roadmap meetings just the other day, that the decal system is still targeted for, the April patch. So that's the phase 3 patch. So the reason we're obviously pushing for that is, of course, that when phase 3 happens, we'd love it if everybody could be running their faction decals at the very least.
Representing.
Even if the initial phase comes out with just like the 10 faction decals or whatever, that would be a win, right? And then we could add more and more decals as we move forward.
Absolutely. Excellent. Well, then there you go, guys. All the questions about decals all night. There's your answer. So now let's see. We've touched on phase 3. We touched on the March roadmap. I know there's at least one more big announcement.
Hold
on. Stop the press.
Sorry, just gonna get the whole impressive thing out of my mind.
What? What I'm seeing is people are going to be tweeting Russ dick pics now. That's what's happening. If it's impressive enough. So I guess Russ will be the judge of that.
But they don't know what impressive means.
Have
It could mean
fun with that, Russ.
all sorts of things.
All right. So Phil, did you have something before we move on to the?
No, I just totally
big
wanted
one?
to derail everything. Go ahead.
Seriously. All right. Excellent. So Russ, do you want to do the big announcement before we move into live questions, or is there anything else you want to cover?
I think we can get into. Okay, there's a couple smaller bits. I know we get a lot of tweets about the state of PPCs, LBX, AMS. I
Not
can't
flamers
state,
anymore.
No, I can state that we have a tweak. I'm not even going to say what at this. Okay, I will. We have a small tweaks to PPC and the LBX coming out it's going to be the April patch. A very minor heat reduction on PPC, very minor speed increase on PPC, very minor tightening of the LBX spread. These are small incremental tweaks, people. Nothing to get really worked up about. Although I think that's kind of what we want at this point. Don't want to swing things too far. I know I get a lot of hey, you guys do my huge changes. Well, okay. Here's some small tweaks to these two systems. I can't confirm AMS changes just yet, but my goal is to at least add a new AMS reward where if you're shooting down missiles that are meant to hit your teammates, you're getting a reward. So I don't know for sure. I still need to work on that one. But so a few minor tweaks coming there. Um, I will mention very briefly, just because I'm kind of unresponsible like that, and some people will probably say, "Russ, why'd you say that? Don't say that. You shouldn't say those things." But let's just let's you only live once, right? Um, we're also we're always continuing to look at the quirk situation, of course. Um, and I know everyone's always constantly thinking about that, and for good reason. But the other one is, we've had our existing heat scale system, okay, fine, ghost heat for quite a while now. I don't even know, it's a couple years, and I guess I would say is that it does serve a purpose. It's been not perfect by any stretch. It hasn't been fully encompassing. It has failed in certain ways. I mean, it controls it controls things to a degree, but also doesn't capture many aspects at all. Um, so it's been unperfect for sure. And this is something that myself and Paul and a few others have been talking about, is that we do have a new system. I'm not going to go into details yet. We do have a new system that I would describe as being probably, oh, maybe even 90 to 95% approved from a design standpoint. And so we're getting fairly close, maybe even within a few days or weeks of some implementation time happening on an internal build, which would be a complete replacement for the Ghost Heat system.
Oh
Okay.
shit.
And I guess what I'd say is to players is that I think it's better. I think it's way more all encompassing. It's kind of a prototype of something that has been kind of swimming around in our heads for, the various heads of maybe two, three, four different individuals for quite a while now, maybe even 6 months or more. And I think it's a better replacement. I think it better encompasses what we're trying to
What is it?
accomplish.
Can I ask Russ, what is it
Good
better
chat.
at compared to
I'm
Ghost Heat?
sorry? Go
What
ahead.
what is it specific? Can you at least dive in? Because people are, what is it
How
better
does it
at?
improve
Yeah, I mean,
on
what
Ghost
is
Heat?
it? You don't have to go into details, but what is it better as far as
Well,
compared
I
to?
think it's better at. Okay, so I mean, there could be some people that disagree with this, of course, and there will be. But what we're trying to combat, what we think creates fun gameplay, and also creates much more balanced gameplay across all different 60 plus chassis and mech warriors, to say, okay, we don't like necessarily 6, 7 minute matches. We don't like 54 damage, alphas going off nonstop. That was the initial notion. There's a lot of people saying, hey, I don't like cresting the hill and being killed in one shot. The beef is going off with the dire star. The beef, that is
Thanks, bro.
shameful of
Why you
you.
got to bring it
Yes.
up? Why you got to bring it?
It's not fun. I mean, as
Too
much
soon.
as I think the Alpha Strike is very much a part of Mech Warrior, but it's based on lore, it should be a very rare occurrence. I'm sorry, all you, quote unquote comp players. You shouldn't be firing off alphas every time you shoot, or every second time you shoot, or third time you shoot. It should be, maybe every match, or, you shoot off a couple alphas, right? And I think most people would agree with that. And the existing heat skill system didn't capture that very well, especially over time, right? Especially as the mechs and the mechs we released and the builds and everything evolved, it didn't keep up with that very well at all. And so we have a new system. I'm not going to go into it right now. It's too early. It's going to encompass that much better, so that you can shoot off that big alpha depending on the size of your alpha, maybe much, you know, less frequently. And I think players are going to be able to, you know, let's say, for example, that we say, we really want that, that alpha to be around 30 points of damage or something. maybe you can shoot off that 30 points damage alpha, X every X seconds, X, and I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to any more defined than that. And if you have a 54 point alpha, then you're not going to shoot that off as frequently as a guy shooting at a 30-point alpha. So that's the thing that this is going to compensate for. And I do believe that it's going to be fun. I do think it's going to increase time to kill. It's going to increase the time of the matches. It's going to increase that feeling of chipping away at an enemy, the battle of attrition. That feeling that I think the game used to have in the beginning more, where you watched people kind of do this slow dance of death around each other and blow off an arm and blow off an arm here, and kind of like chipping away at each other rather than just like, I see you, I alpha you, you melt, you die. So anyhow, don't take any of the numbers I said here as like that's the numbers it's going to be. It's not going to be that, but it's going to be a better system. It's going to be something that actually. The problem is it's going to encompass. Not the problem. It's going to encompass the whole, system of the game rather than affect these builds, but not affect these builds. If that makes sense. And I know to all of you guys have been playing for a long time, that does make sense. It's actually going to impact everything in every build equally.
Russ, quick question, a follow-up to this. Obviously, there's some concern in chat regarding how this applies and will affect the tournament. Do we have an ETA? Is this going to be something that's going into the tournament build as well as the live
build? I would suggest that those people that are worried about the tournament build, I would suggest there's almost zero chance this will go into the tournament build.
All right.
I mean, I'd be shocked if this goes in the tournament build, because timing is like, we're just now getting to a point where it's like, we're ready to start building this system. So, my guess would be like maybe by, sometime in like April or May, we have some public test builds that people start playing, and then maybe by this middle of summer, we have something we're thinking about, getting the public to play and then release. So no. There's almost no chance that something like this will make itself into a tournament build. It'd be cool if it could, of course. I think it's going to change gameplay significantly, but no, I just have to be patient in this case, and it's going to have to, it'll have to wait. So if I had to guess, I would think summertime. June is
All right.
kind of like the earliest we'd see something like this.
So remember, guys, that the tournament build, that they're building servers specifically for the tournament build or for the tournament, and they will be locked down. So once those tournament servers go live, new patches won't be affected necessarily. So yeah, that was exactly the answer I think people wanted.
Before you go into that, what you just announced, Russ, is fucking huge. Yeah. Like that is game altering, like across the board on so many levels. I mean, the first thing, I have a question, maybe you can answer. One of the biggest complaints with Ghost Heat is that the term itself, Ghost, it's not really displayed to the player. The system you're talking about, is that something you guys have taken into consideration?
Well, I think it won't surprise you to know that I'm not like a giant fan of the term Ghost Heat. It's a players love to, especially in this game. It's funny how they like to apply the term ghost to almost anything, ghost drops or whatever. So I like it. I kind of got on board with it. It's kind of funny now.
Very spirit oriented.
Yeah, it's neat. But yeah, I can get that to a point. I think the in-game widget does explain it decently. At least it says, hey, this loadout's going to generate a lot of extra heat. So it doesn't get into a lot more detail than that. And to a lot of players, I appreciate the fact that like a lot of our look at that beer. A lot of our player base,
fucking random, just like,
oh dear. A lot of our player base is very advanced, right? I mean, they're very, very sophisticated. They understand, what's going on, and so I think it's difficult to try and develop your game and try to communicate to those new players, because a lot of those players that complain about Ghost Heat are also saying, hey, it's really difficult for a new player to understand. So are we talking about, are we really talking about what is, you know, too difficult to explain to a new player? Or were we talking about what kind of, you know, inconsistencies are not communicated to you, the more advanced player? So, that doesn't, we don't really need to get into it at this point or kind of split hairs about it. It is what it is. I think Ghost Seed has served a purpose, and I think without it entirely, and many people would disagree with me on this front, and that's fine. We don't need to debate at this point, but I think, a game in the last couple of years without the Ghost Heat system in any way, shape, or form would have been probably worse off. I think it has served the purpose to a degree. It's been far from perfect. So I think we're well overdue. So let me repeat that to everybody who's out saying no, blah blah blah, and like saying stuff that negative. Hey, I think we are well overdue for a much better system, and I think we can all agree that BattleTech, the MechWarrior, BattleTech rule set, when it comes to a real-time game like MechWarrior Online, is in need of some system. Some system that the random dice rolling BattleTech game does not need. We need some system. We just need a better system than what Heat Scale was, and this is what we're working on. So I will say this also. Like I said, it's 90 to 95% from a design phase. There's still a chance it could fail in the implementation phase, or we say, uh-oh, we can't go live with this system. Right now, I think that's a low possibility. I do feel like what we've designed is, when I say 90, 95%, I think there's still a 90, 95% chance that it will be implemented and that it will be a better system than what you have in the game. It'll be an improvement for MechWarrior Online. But I have to at least put those caveats out there that it's still a few months off, and we still have a lot of work to do, and I'm hopeful for it. I think it'll be great.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's a huge announcement. Another big one for tonight. So
Chalk that up. How many big ones is that?
Wait, are we talking about
drink?
pictures people are sending you?
Yeah, impressive. How many impressive
Hashtag
things
impressive.
Is that? At least
so
one.
Anyway, at least. So for those of you, again, amazing numbers tonight. That's awesome. Thank you all for being here. Just to let you know, Phil will be going live with some, I believe, MWO after the town hall, so stick around for that. But we do have one major announcement left, and then we're going to get into some Q&A from the live audience. Is that right, Russ? Is there any little items like that last one on your list?
Cicada, Warhorn, win?
No more unimpressive items, only impressive ones moving forward. So
right.
I do want to announce a new mech, of course, and because
let's remove that
I have
Nova,
no
Phil.
longer promised the non-announcement of mech packs at the town halls. There may come a time where I promise that again, but this is not the time for such things. I want to say a few bits. There's some people that are passionate about the mechs they want created. If you look at the past couple of years, you can easily see some consistencies. I mean, there's certainly a certain capacity, in mech creation. In the past, we might have announced 3 major packs in a year. 3 times 4 equals 12. It really equates to about 1 a month release. Right now, the kind of these one-off packs happening most every month is kind of the equivalent, really. So it's really kind of the same difference. I did say last time, what I was surprised about in the last couple of days is that, or even the last day when I announced that we'd be announcing a mech pack, is that there were some clan players saying, "Hey, yo, great, can't wait for the town hall. You're going to announce a clan mech." Well, no, we just announced a Kodiak last month. I did state last month on January 29th, I believe, that we would be announcing an Inner Sphere mech this time, and that we would, I didn't say what would be after that, but this time would definitely be an Inner Sphere mech. So I'm not sure why there would be any surprise about that. I know there are some people passionate, and I wanted to clarify something. I think there's been a little confusion about what type of mechs or mech packs are valid right now in MechWarrior Online because of the timeline issue and technology issue. And I understand the confusion because I haven't said specifically, and there's a lot of variables at play. And I should say that there isn't any real way to completely define that, especially over text or Twitter or something, because in the end, it kind of comes down to my decision and even sort of a feeling I have for MechWarrior Online. And so, even though technically, from a community warfare standpoint, our timeline is basically around 3053, the Battle of Tukid, that's the clan invasion we're playing out. And most of the mechs that we've released to date fall within that 3053 timeline. There have been some exceptions, there have been some variants, whether it's some of the 2C mechs or the Kodiak in particular, that officially released post that, even upwards, even to the 3060s, but they use current technology. And so, what I've defined it as is saying, look, we can basically announce and release any mech at this point that uses the technology that we have in MechWarrior Online. That means no ATMs, no hags, no heavy lasers, etc. That uses the technology we have, and in particular, the other kind of kicker is that every mech, I believe, every mech that we've released to date has had at least a base variant, being released prior to the 3053 timeline. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong,
You're
but
killing people, Russ. You're killing
even
people.
Even the Kodiak is, even though we have some 3060 variants, all of the other, the base variant was released prior to 3053. So the reason I say this, some of the clan fans that we have is talking about the Mad Cat MK2 and a few others, and it's very interesting mech. But even the initial variant was released, production started in 3061, and it's well into the 3060s by the first ones released. And there are a few variants that are releasable.
Cicada Mark II, right? Is that confirmed?
It's
Bushwhacker.
we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I can't
Hollander.
specifically say when we're gonna get to this mech or that mech or whatever, but
Where's my
I
fleet?
guess my base statement is I don't know if we're gonna ever release heavy lasers or this or that technology, because there are very serious balance considerations to have. But I have no qualms about taking all these various variants and saying, okay, we're not gonna promise heavy lasers or this technology or that technology, but we can just shove ER larges and ER mediums in those spots and basically just release that mech. So having said that, I hope that gives everyone out there enough explanation of what maybe they should be tweeting me or talking to me about or what I want to release. It kind of says, hey, yeah, there's not really any limitation as long as we can take the variants and adjust them to work within the technology we have today. You should also realize that myself and other people internally will always have a preference for trying to get through the existing mechs that are available out there for us to release.
Russ.
No, seriously, this is really important. I know you guys are thinking I'm just teasing everybody, but I get a lot of tweets.
Someone's like, I can only get so erect.
No, I get a lot of tweets and a lot of comments of frustration about why not this mech, why not that mech. So I'm trying to give them a really deep insight to the process. I actually had David Bradley, who works on all of our mech releases with me in here, and Alex Iglesias today. We literally spent probably 2 hours today talking about this subject. And I was trying to explain to them kind of where we're at. And so, okay, so when it comes to you guys that want the Mad Cat MK2 and various things, I can't commit here today. Don't you worry, dudes. In the next couple months, we're going to release those, we're going to announce those mechs and release those mechs. We're going to get there, but we're going to want to get through these mechs that have a base variance in our main 3053 timeline first. So
Russ,
I told you guys we're gonna do an IS mech, right? I said that last town hall. Correct me if I'm wrong.
so is it the Wasp? Is it the Stinger?
You know what?
Awestruck.
I like the Wasp. I like the Stinger, but it's not
Crusader?
those ones. So it's not the Crusader. Okay, stop guessing.
Longbow?
Stop it. Stop it. Okay, it's obvious. I think most of you guys
What
know what
is
it's gonna
it,
be.
Russ?
You know what it is. Tell me what it is. Let me look
Cicada
at the
Mark
chat.
II.
Hang on.
Cicada Mark II.
Let me look at the chat.
I don't know why anything would influence their
There it
decision
is.
otherwise.
Okay, I saw it.
There it
We
is.
are releasing the Phoenix Hawk.
Shit.
It's the Phoenix Hawk.
Some
So
people
it
called
is
it.
another quote unquote classic mech.
Phil needs to
Classic.
change the picture.
It is awesome. I mean, I think I think Phil did a
Are
good
we showing them?
job. I think like
Yes,
the
he
Black
announced
Knight,
it.
it's like
I know,
I
but
think
Wait.
I think you guys agree with me. Like
Hold
the
on.
Black Knight is
Hold
like
on, don't show.
this, and the Black Knight is kind of the most, quote unquote. I won't even say the word actually. Never mind. It's
Russ,
they have a very interesting look to them,
which
and
version do you want us to show, Russ?
yeah, just show the basic green. Let's go the basic green on the Phoenix Hawk.
Basic green, go. Here it comes, guys. Phoenix Hawk. Do you guys remember what the Phoenix Hawk is? This is another, of course, classic mech.
I still think the Cicada Mark II would have been totally better. But I'll settle for this.
Take what you can get, man.
Dude, no. Okay, so first off, this mech performs fantastic in the tabletop. It's well armored, it's high mobility, and the variants you picked, by the way, Russ, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy heavily.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about that a bit. So this is a really fun process for us to work through. As you can imagine, all these classic mechs have been really amazing to work on and to model and to design, and we've been, I guess, a little, as you've seen with the lore posts that we've done, the blueprints and stuff. We've been extra involved with Cadless and in particular Randall Bills, who's a great guy and a great, canon guy and even an author of novels, and of course, really kind of a caretaker of the brand. He's been very, useful, and our guys had actually picked a particular hero mech pilot, and he, before even knowing that, we said, "Hey, Randall, what's up? We're gonna need a post," and he's like, "Yeah, awesome, woo! Like hero mech, of course you did, Shin Yodama," and we're like, "Oh
But
my
of
god."
course.
We actually chose Paul Masters. And he's like, "Oh, okay, well," and so when we started talking, we said, "You know what? Fuck. We got to do both. We're doing both of them." And so what's going to be cool about this time is there's so many options for you guys as a player. You can buy nothing. You can buy any notion or aspect and level you want.
Are we showing them
So,
this, Russ? Do you want me
well, hang on a second. Now we're going to do. You got the standard pack, right? You got the collector's pack, and then you have two different hero add-ons. You got the Paul Masters Phoenix Hawk, or you got the Shin Yodama Phoenix Hawk, and then you have a reinforcements pack as well. And I'll even say that the standard pack contains an ECM Phoenix Hawk, which is cool. In the basic $20, standard pack, you got the ECM Phoenix Hawk. I believe the reinforcements has both an ECM and a mask Phoenix Hawk, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, you got the two Hero Mechs. The Hero Mechs aren't mask or ECM, but they have amazing paint jobs. Why don't you show the? Let's just go. Let's just do it. And hang on a second. Let's see if these guys will show us
Do
some
what?
respect. Do you want to see all the paint jobs tonight, or would you rather me just hang on to those and tease you and be just like a ruthless bastard?
All right,
Which
we'll
one?
wait on chat. Just for
Let's
anybody
see.
who
Let's see
doesn't,
if they're like, yes, please torture us.
for anybody that doesn't know, the Phoenix Hawk is a 45-ton mech. As Russ said, there's a couple variants with ECM. It's also, I think, Russ, this is the first one that we've released, at least that I can remember, that actually the gun is kind of separate, a la the original artwork. Of course, it is attached, but it looks like it's holding a rifle. A lot of people wanting to know if those.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. I told Alex, it's like, whoa, man, it's like holding a gun,
It's
like
beautiful.
classic
It
mechs.
is
And
sexy.
I was challenging him on it a little bit, just to see if he'd back off on it or whatever, because that's kind of we don't really do that a lot. And he's like, we've kind of done it with this one a little bit and that, and he kind of stuck with it. So I don't argue with him. I mean, Alex is the man, and I was like, okay, cool.
All right, Phil, the majority of chat said they do not want to see the other variants.
Okay, so let's just call it quits.
Yep.
And
that's it.
you know what, guys? I know you don't want to see it. That's fine. I appreciate that. I mean, you've seen enough, and I can tease you.
For some odd reason,
I'll put it
something
on my Twitter page, and you guys can all be Twitter followers.
that
In fact, why don't you follow me on Twitter? I mean, does everybody here follow me on Twitter? Because if they don't, that's a real shame.
that classic Monty Python on the Holy Grail. Spank me, yes. I don't know. For some odd reason that popped in my. Should we show him? I think it's.
Okay,
You didn't.
tell
You
what.
didn't accidentally hit the button.
I
Did
didn't see like a lot of like, oh, please show me. Like they're probably like, they're probably scared when I mention dick pics. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about that. I'm talking about
I'm gonna
Look at
click
the
a
size of
button.
that.
You can hate me
Why don't we
afterwards.
show them
I'm
just like the collector's skin for now?
Show 'em the
Let's just
collector's
go
skin.
there.
I've only got a screen to show all of them, so I've got to
Ah,
click it.
Set 'em up.
I
I've
haven't
got to.
seen that kind of. I don't think they're into
I'm
that
clicking
much.
it right now. It's happening. Sorry, it just happened.
All right, do it.
Fire me. Sorry.
Listen to me next time. Okay, so here we go, guys.
Okay,
This is
so
all
I,
4
I
special
really
variants.
like. I'm gonna say this as you guys wait for this. I thought Alex and the marketing team and Randall really synced up on this more than I've seen them do before. So I believe that's the special skin, right there. Really cool. Go. Is it? I think that, if I'm not mistaken, is the Paul Masters one. No, no. Oh my God. I think that's Paul Masters. I think that's Paul Masters. That's your generic green. That's the standard skin.
Which looks amazing by
It's
itself.
just
but
pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And then finally, there we go.
Yeah, here we go. I think that's the Shinya Dama one. But man, if I had those mixed up, shame on me. But I think the Paul Masters one was for this rock, or like kind of
So do you guys have a favorite?
knights thing. I, I like the Paul Masters kind of knight skin, but
Yeah, I like this
I
one with
think
the
all in all,
eagles or whatever.
these are all really great skins. I mean, that's cool.
Alex
I think the standard skin is
Iglesias
cool.
is a god.
I mean, these guys really took the lore, the advice from Rando and everyone into. I mean, we always do, but I think even more so than ever, it kind of came together and worked for all the versions.
When I've played the tabletop and when we've played Mega Mech, one of the things is this mech has literally performed amazingly. It's like sweet point amount of the hard points that it has, plus ECM, plus maybe some other things. It is jump capable, and it's one of those mechs that just it fits right there. And I'm actually looking forward to this because I play mediums and heavies a lot, especially IS side. And something that has ECM, I don't know. It's just another one of those things.
Look, I want to tell everybody again. People are maybe thinking right now, like, well, what's going to be next? I can honestly tell you, I don't know for sure. I've literally got 6 mechs that could be next, and I'm trying to debate whether the next one's going to be a clan one-off or it's going to be a clan omni, like wave 4 pack. And I know I've got players on kind of both sides of the fence. And I appreciate that. It's just that I want to tell you guys a little bit about the process. I think you know this, but another thing I should have mentioned before is it takes, a couple of weeks to create a great concept like this, and up to another few days or half a week or even a week to create the ortho. So you can look at least, 2 full months to create all the concepts necessary to announce a clan, like wave 4 pack or any kind of 4 mech pack. So I have a few options I'm juggling right now, whether it's like, let's do this clan mech as a one-off, and then let's do this IS mech, and then let's do a clan wave 4 pack, or because I'd ideally not like to create a hole in the process, but that's something we're dealing with. So if I go with like a 4 mech omni mech pack, it does mean there's a possibility of me doing one more, one-off IS mech pack of a concept image that we already have, so that would buy me really like a full 2 months, from now, to get all those 4 omni mech images done for the modelers to take off on. So I'm just giving you a little more extra insight than you normally have into that process and what goes on, and all the behind the scenes things that happen, that it really takes, of course, if you're going to do a format clan wave 4 pack, it takes 4 times longer, of course, to not only concept but model everything. So you have a much longer gaping hole between the release of it. So I just want to throw that out there. I'm working on it, deciding on it. I do see a lot of support for 4 mech pack and everything. So
Let me break in
I'm
here.
working on it.
A long time ago on a town hall, you said that mech packs are what makes you guys money, and you guys were going to continue doing that. And I think that's an important thing to reiterate, is every single time we have a town hall, and everyone's like, oh, you're just gonna announce a new mech. I mean, that's what makes you guys money. So I mean, you said And I just want to sort of point that out there. A lot of people every single time are just sort of like, I don't know, almost, bent about it. But you guys have been very open about how that's a big part of your revenue stream, and being a free to play title, that's what makes you guys money.
And
Yeah, I
also
mean, and
a
more
very
clear, kind of rather than saying, makes us money, I might, replace that phrase with like pays the bills, kind
Mhm.
of thing. It costs a lot of money to make a game like this. I mean, it takes literally, uh, you know, I won't,
selling the mech packs.
many, many, many hundreds of thousands of dollars per month just in pure costs. That's a fact. And
Yeah.
that wouldn't surprise anybody in this day and age of the development costs. So I will say this, Phil. I mean, I think I think I've said this before, but I mean, I would almost, if someone would say, "Hey, is Mech Online a free to play game?" I think I've said exactly this before, but I just reiterate it. Is that yeah, sure, we're free to play game by definition. Someone can go to the website, download the game, play it for free. And they can play it to a large extent free, especially nowadays. If you look at the extent of the chassis and everything that's there for free. However, we kind of have taken on a very traditional business model in a lot of ways, and we're extremely. And I mean, you look at the mech packs is really a very traditional, DLC mentality that you see many games take. So I think we found what works when it comes to our game and the brand and the property and our player base, and that we still have a very significant free to play aspect of our business model. But yeah, it is fair to say that our most significant aspect of our business model and that keeps the game going is based on a fairly traditional DLC type of model, and that's with the mech packs. I mean, there's no secret about it. It's about the mech packs, and so whether you're looking at one mech pack, one-off mech pack every month, or whether you're looking at, you know, 3, 4 mech packs a year, it's really the same difference, right? So, I like the one mech pack per month. I've said this before. I'll say it again. The one mech pack a month versus the like say 3, 4 mech packs in a year is superior because even though it gets the same amount of mechs released in a year, it actually allows my modeling team to work on a lot more things. So right now, I can tell you that we're actively working on the Union class dropship. We just completed the pilot model. We're really close to completing a significant amount of work on the rescaling. Now, the interesting thing is, if I was trying to squeeze out 3 or 4 of these 4 mech packs in a year, I wouldn't have had the modeling resources to do any of those things, or a lot less of those things. So, it is an effective model. That DLC model of the one mech a month is a very effective model, and it gives us we've been lucky because we've had some very quality mechs like these classic mechs and the Kodiak and Phoenix, etc. These mechs are very quality and they've worked very well from a one mech standpoint. But once I get into the Omni mechs, I do agree that the I'd like to create another 4 mech pack, and so that's why I'm leaning for the Omni mechs like we've done in the past. But yes, sorry, it's a repeat, but basically yes, it's a big part of our business model. It's really a traditional DLC model when it comes to the battle mechs, and it's a majority of our business model. It's very important to us. And we can do the 4 mech packs, we can do the single mech packs. The single mech packs do allow us to create a lot more bonus content for the players.
Hey, the Phoenix Hawk, when will it be going live, as in available for purchase?
Yeah, it's so the Kodiak is in May. The Phoenix Hawk will be a June patch release.
Excellent. But that's wait, June is when it will go live. When will it be available for sale?
I'm sorry, it'll be available for sale on Wednesday, so early March.
Okay.
That's March the 2nd, I believe. That's the goal. March 2nd, March 3rd, somewhere in there. I'll try to do it as quick as I can because I
Excellent.
want you guys to have. There'll be the early adopters aspect, and I want you to have as close to a full month as possible for early adopters.
Well, that's pretty damn exciting. Another classic. or unseeable mech. Very exciting. That's beautiful too. As I always say, Alex is a god. He is. Um, so that's huge. Do you want to, Russ? How you feeling? You want to take a few minutes bio and then
Yeah,
do
let's do a
some
quick bio because I have to get at least 2 beers in me before I take questions.
before you take the live
So
questions?
let's
Oh,
do
this is
that.
going to be
You
fun.
commit to at least 1 shot.
I will do
Phil
one
will
shot.
commit to at least.
I need another Scotch ale. That's what I need.
Well, do you
shit.
have
I've got
more? Don't
yeah, I've got
bullshit us.
getting
no,
real.
no, I've got one more, dude. I'll take
All right.
screenshots. What? Come on.
You better
Please
post-
now.
You know what? I want to see a screenshot in the middle of that Mad Cat, just like the Phoenix Hawk, with one of your Scotch ales on it.
Just
Make
saying.
it happen.
I'll make it happen.
Okay,
All right,
I'll
guys,
be right
we'll
back.
be right back. Just want to say thank you to everyone who is out there. Holy shit, we're over 10K followers, Darren. And
I know,
it's been a long work, like
We're almost to 10,100.
I just want to say thank you to every single person that has watched this channel, that has enjoyed themselves enough to click follow, and that they keep coming back. I don't know. I hear my voice and I'm like, I don't know why you guys do that. And they just keep coming back. I don't know why.
I hear your voice and
You
I don't
know?
know why
I-
either. But
I
you know
don't
what? Take
know.
a break. Go
Like-
take a piss. We'll be back 5 minutes.
We'll be right back. Go walk the lizard.
Get out of here, stalker.
Image enhancement engaged. All points attacking your target.
All right, welcome back, mech fans. This is the final installment of this town hall meeting with Russ Bullock, president of Piranha Games, developers of MechWarrior Online. We've talked about a lot of stuff tonight, including the March roadmap, 2016 MechWarrior Online World Tournament, and tons more. New game modes, new map, new heat system, new mech, the Phoenix Hawk, just tons of stuff. If you have not had the chance to listen, you're just joining us now, this will be up on YouTube later tonight or early in the morning, so you'll be able to catch up on everything that you missed, as well as I know there's already Reddit threads and so forth, so you can see all the info that's been disseminated throughout the night. An amazing night. We are going to wrap it up with some live questions, so please direct your question. What are we showing here, Phil? What is this?
Russ said
What
he
is
wanted
this?
a screenshot up in front and
Pixar
center.
didn't happen?
Pixar
All
didn't
right.
happen, so old
How
Chub.
wait. How do we know that didn't happen last night?
Dude,
Yeah, like
seriously?
like
Seriously?
looks
All right.
good, man. Cool.
Anyways,
Are those
we've
delicious?
Yeah, they're actually really good. They're so smooth. Old Chub, Scotch Ale. Shout out to Ben again from Colorado who sent me a bunch of Colorado beer. And if there's
Awesome.
anybody who wants to send me beer, I'm not going to say no. Contact me on the NGNG forums, and I'll tell you if the beer is good or bad. Just saying.
All right, there we go. New podcast we can be doing. Anyway, it's been an amazing night. Already going into the 4th hour here, I think. Yes. Oh my God. So let's not go over 4 hours. Let's do a little
Let's go
live
5.
Q&A.
Fuck it. I mean,
So,
you know.
Russ is a warrior, man. In a crazy week, and then here he
How
is on
many
a Friday
minutes
night.
do we have to go to beat the
Oh,
record?
don't even bring that up. No. We're not doing that. We're not beating the record. Oh, over 50.
Seriously?
Do you want to do over 50 minutes of live questions? I mean, if
Oh,
you
I don't
want,
know. We probably did at least 50 minutes last time, I'm guessing.
Can we just play MWO while we're at it? I mean, you know, might as
yeah,
well.
right. All right, so guys, in chat, please direct your questions to @NGNGTV or @NGNG_Darren, and we will direct those questions to Russ. Russ, you can also keep an eye on chat if you want to just automatically answer anything that you see scrolling by. But let's just do this. Live questions. This is up to you guys. If you want those hard-hitting questions and not the softballs, then now's your chance. Step up to the mound. See, I'm drinking, and pitch. No hardball, no softballs from you guys. So let's do this. First question, Phil, do you have one?
Dude, I got questions all day. What are you talking about?
You got questions all day. I'm seeing them red text everywhere. Except, you know what? I think Russ explained which mech
No,
is
I've got
next.
it. Oh, no, I've got it. You ready? No,
Yes.
I'm taking this. I'm freaking
right.
doing this. And it's from Fury Fox, by the way, one of our recent subs. So, hi.
Thank you, Furry.
And he says, @NGNGTV and @ZoF and @NGNGTV again. Will you
And
ever
everybody.
will you ever sell sound packs or alternative weapon sounds, even if they're client side only? Or will the current weapon sounds ever be revamped?
You asked me that again.
Dude, no, literally, and I quote Fury_Fox_PhD asked that.
The dude has a PhD, Russ.
You know what? I got a sneaking feeling that feel like to
Nope.
ask
Hold on,
questions
you
that
know,
he's the most
I want to
interested in.
make this
Okay,
official.
let me
Everyone
answer it.
ask.
Well, I want to answer it for my customer. Let me answer it. I think there's a very good chance that the existing laser effects and sound effects that you have will be revamped, for sure. I've been thinking a lot about that lately. I think the audio could use a full-on revamp. That's kind of a separate issue, of course, to sound packs. As to sound packs, I think we're making strides. Just today, I was talking about some things that would allow us to do that. So I'm sorry, that's as far as I can go today. Is just, uh, yeah, we could possibly get there. I think I think there's two questions, though. I think they're
Yes.
unrelated. You know, revamping the audio and then, of course, releasing sound packs. Will you see both in 2016? I can't promise that. Will you see one of the two happen in this year? I think that's a pretty good chance.
Probable. All right. Domestead39 says quirks are not addressing clan underperformers, hardpoint, and tonnage issues. Can you unlock endo for them soon? For the example, the summoner.
Like I said before, I think there's very little chance I'm gonna unlock the endo for the summoner. And you guys know it's my favorite clan mech. So I can't open that can of worms. And it's like, well, why isn't the endo available in this one?
Right.
And why isn't the pharaoh available in that one? And just unlock everything for everything.
Endo for everyone.
So it's like, I don't think we solve our problems that way. And what that equates to is a couple of tons. And so if I can get that ton or a couple of tons to the summoner, that makes a difference in a different way, whether that's through further quirks, further new quirks like ammo quirks or whatever, or something kind of interesting and different. I'd rather finish exploring that path than unlocking the endo for the summoner, because don't try to tell me it's going to end there. It's going to be, well, why don't you just unlock engine customization for all Omnimax now? Why don't you unlock this for Omnimax? Why don't you unlock that for Omnimax? Until
Pandora's
it's full
box.
customization and for all Omnimax. And there's really no
Right.
difference between Omnimax and anything else. Not only can they swap Omnimax, but they can also do full customization, which breaks the canon optimizations, which you hold me to in many other aspects of this game. It completely throws that stuff out the window completely. So I think going down that road is much more of an Pandora's box than saying, okay, you feel like the summoner now is only 75% of the way there, or 60 or 80 or whatever you're thinking. I think we're a lot closer to saying, let's create another couple unique quirks and applying those to those mechs than saying, let's blow up every rule around Omnimech, customization. So I hope that answers that.
Real quick, guys, if you're asking about a specific mech and when it's coming, you're just wasting your breath. We've already addressed that. We're not going to have any specific mech questions. Phil, you got another good one?
Yes, and this is actually to what we just said, and it was asked by, where would it? Damn chat, and it said, Chimera 1138 says on the topic of sound packs, stance on use of Shavaxi's MW2 and MechWarrior 3 sound mods.
This has also been addressed in multiple previous
Clarification
town halls.
then.
We don't own the copyrights. PGI does not own the copyrights to any of those sounds.
Will they get banned?
Russ?
Well, I've already answered that like 10 times.
A million times, yeah.
People are asking it.
Here's my
Let's
stance.
ask questions that...
You won't see Piranha employees or Piranha people or Piranha associates.
You
like
won't see us.
NG and others specifically promoting or displaying said sound pack files officially in any way, shape, or form. Because we're not there to demonstrate something and advertise something that isn't our game. We're here to advertise the game as it is. for when a player first says, "Oh, I've never heard of this game before. Oh my God, there's a new MechWarrior game out." And they go to Steam or our website or whatever it is, and they download our game and play it. That's what we're here to advertise. We're not here to advertise add-ons and add-on packs and things like that. So you won't see any of us officially advertising any of those things, sound pack files. But no, we are not on a witch hunt for people running and displaying sound pack mods.
Solid.
So that's the last time.
Do not ask us to
Yeah.
support them in any official way, because we will not. But we're not on a search to bind you with your custom sound files and ban you.
All right.
All right. Phil and I are going to do a better job at finding questions that are
No,
not repeats of recent questions. That
It's
have
a
been asked
valid. It's a valid thing
about. We
because it
are
gets
going to
brought
do
up.
that, Phil.
It-
Find
it-
better questions.
Okay,
Now,
so
the
I've
next
got one.
thing- No, you just asked. The next question is, Russ, you had mentioned in previous town halls that there will be a Timberwolf hero. Is that still something that's going to, at some point, be followed through with a Timberwolf hero? The champion clan mech?
Yeah.
I didn't say you promised.
That's
I just
on
said
me.
that you mentioned it.
That's on me. I mean, oh boy, I don't know if I'd use the word promise, but I did state at one point I felt
No, you
very
didn't promise.
strongly that it would be the first clan hero mech. And here's why it's not. I mean, it became a skin texturing bandwidth issue at the time. And then it turned out to be that we went to the other mech packs, including the Kodiak, which is the first clan hero mech, and all the other hero mechs before that, of course, from a texturing standpoint, first. So, and that's like 50% of the answer. The other 50% of the answer is, I want to be really honest with you, is we still have not completely figured out or become comfortable with the notion of releasing a hero omni-mech. Okay? And maybe it's not as much of a concern as we think it is, but it's very hard to determine the balance of such things in our game at this point with so many variables at play. The Kodiak, since it's going to behave really exactly like an Inner Sphere hero mech, we feel like we know how to handle that. So it's part to do with creating a custom skin of what a hero mech would be, and the other half is to be with the how does a hero clan mech behave when it's an omni mech, when you got the min-maxing of like, do we allow you to take 3/4 of the pods off of the other Timberwolves and shove them onto the Timberwolf hero, so you're only using 1 or maybe 0 pods from the Timberwolf hero and all the other pods from existing hero mechs, but you're getting the C-bill bonus. Many of you would say, well, sure, why not? You can do that already with the invasion mechs, I suppose. You could use basically the only thing that's left of the invasion mech is the Senatorso or something. So we owe you guys an explanation and an actual decision, and we need to stop avoiding the issue and jump on it. And I guess I was able to avoid the issue for the last few months based on the unseen mechs. There, I said the word. And
What?
The Kodiak. So I'm going to run out of cover pretty soon here when it comes to avoiding that question. And I'm going to have to confront it face on. So I guess I would think I'm running out of cover, and I'm going to get back to you guys pretty soon.
All right, next
There we go.
question. And this is actually, God, we have literally a shit ton of questions. I'm still at hour 12:15, and it's from Naduk_, and he says, with the upcoming Phase 3 split, team versus solo queue, have you considered removing the barrier from quick play and faction play, meaning that all quick play is inside faction play? Faction points get awarded for every match played, combining all of the queues, if you will. This would alleviate a lot of the queue issues associated with the game.
Do you want to try and summarize that for me?
Basically, instead of quick play and solo being non-faction warfare, their implications being faction warfare, that you would combine them. Have you guys considered that? to where there's no solo queue group or solo queue in
You're
Community
saying just merge
Warfare.
everything into Community Warfare?
And yes, so basically you don't have 2 different solo queues. Where why not just have one? And what's the difference?
Well, I mean, I think the answer to the question, we definitely have thought about that. And the way we would think about it generally is to think about, well, how do we consolidate all the queues together? And how do we get everybody involved in maybe what might be considered the more interesting gameplay of Community Warfare and the Star Map? But each time we discuss that, it gets dismissed pretty readily based on the fact that you have an average of maybe 7 or 8, 6, 7, 8 minutes match time in quick play. And then the extra complexity of 25 to 30 minutes community warfare with drop decks, limited respawn via the drop decks, and it's way different. It's way different, and that's a big step. That's a huge step to say, hey, everybody, you know, there's no such thing as logging into our game, MechWarrior Online, like there is with World of Tanks and Warframe or War Thunder or whatever, and playing like a quick 10-minute, match, log in, launch a match before you have to go do something. Forget about it. You have to commit at least 30 minutes to do a legit community warfare match with your unit or with the pub queue, and that's it. It's your minimum commitment at this point. That's a big change. That's a really big change. And so and then you're limited. Think about the game mode situation. I mean, now you're saying there is no limited, 7, 8 minute match on a regular skirmish type game mode. It's invasion or nothing, or counterattack, or the scout mode. So I understand the draw to try and say, let's get everybody into community warfare. Let's bring all the players into community warfare. Let's get everyone into the same bucket. Believe me, I wish I could make every single private match play out in some way in the inner sphere map in some way. But we're always thinking about that. But so far at this point, it doesn't. Unfortunately, the desires don't add up to realistic gameplay features that work for everybody. Remember, we're dealing with a community that said, hey, love MWO, super excited about community warfare. Please don't you dare, make community warfare anything other than something that all of us can participate in, not just units. And so if that wasn't one of our directions, we could have easily made community warfare nothing but a glorified private match organizer, like some of these other games are, where it says, hey, you got scheduled private matches for territory. That's what they are. Our direction was, don't do that. We all want to participate in community warfare. That's the direction we took and designed around. So we have quick play and we have faction play, and they're very different things. In order to combine quick play into faction play, we literally have to tell 2/3 or more of our player base, 3/4 of our player base, to say, hey, bud, you can't play these quick game modes anymore. You got to commit at least 25 plus minutes to playing community warfare.
Okay, sounds good. Next question is from Kel something. I can't get the rest of your name. Kel Lane something, blah, blah, blah. I know NGNG has merchandise. Why, yes, we do. NoGutsNoGalaxyStore.com. Will MWO ever have merchandise as well, like coffee cups, T-shirts, and the like? They want to open up their wallets. Russ?
Darren, you failed me. You said you were going to pick new questions, man. Phil, get on his case right now.
I have a new question too, if
Okay.
you'd like to.
You know what? I'm going to answer that quick because I always answer the questions.
Mhm.
It's not up to me. It's up to Tops, who contains the rights for me to be able to sell those things. And we keep talking to them, and they keep asking me for like things, and I keep saying, hey, bud, that'd be great, but you should give me the rights to sell this shit too. At the same time, we can help each other out. They're unwilling to make those kind of deals. It's
Yeah,
hey,
I
man,
can
send
I
a
can
letter to Tops. There you
Start
go.
a-
I said
start
it.
a
Just fucking
movement.
email them and say, what the fuck? Why can't we buy a T-shirt with MWO shit on it? They're gonna make money on this stuff too. They're gonna give me the rights to do so. They're gonna give me a royalty percentage to top. So they're gonna make money on it. Let them know how much of a market they're missing out on when it comes to miniatures and models and fucking
No
coffee
doubt.
mugs or whatever you guys want to buy. I'd be happy to make it if they'd let us. Right
But
now, I can
obviously-
only make shit to give away for free. If I want to give away something for free, like a T-shirt at a tournament event or something, I can. But or a mech or whatever. As you saw at the launch event we just had in December, the big Steam event, we gave away a bunch of 3D printed mechs. That's just marketing stuff, right? And we can do that, but we can't sell that stuff to you guys. So we can't really make it in any way that makes a difference. So I don't know who to tell you to email. I got a couple of names, but those are like execs, and I don't dare hammer their email boxes. So I'm just gonna say, hey, let Tops know how much you want to buy MWO merchandise.
Russ is not against making money, and obviously that was a pimp question there.
All right,
I am
so
gonna
I
go
got,
with
I got the real
I
quick.
am
No,
gonna go
no,
with the
no.
real question here,
You did this to me, and
which is
I'm doing this to
from
you, and
Peef
your
Smash, who
hashtag
asks-
you're fired.
Peef Smash wants to know, what about replays? Replays aren't present in every major, or are present in every major competitive game. Could we get replays in MWO?
You're a jerk.
See, I just steamrolled.
Hashtag you're an
This
asshole.
is what happens when I get to drinking. You guys forced me to drink. I'm a violent drunk. Answer my question.
I like this, Darren.
I don't like them. Go back.
All right.
Phil and I are going to fisticuffs after this. But anyway,
Okay. That is a very good question, and it's not good because I have a really great answer for it. It's actually good because I understand people want that, but I don't have a good answer for you. That is probably, put simply, an epic feature
yes.
I mean, you can say every other game has it. That's a bit of a stretch. Every other major super epic FPS game that was created by some epically giant company for the sake of esports has it. That is true. But other than that, you look at FPS games. If you look outside of the Halos and the Call of Duties and Counter Strikes, I mean, that's a pretty rare epic sized feature. I mean, that's big time stuff. That is, oh my God, like take
It's
a time
not
out
mediocre.
that is like take a time out for 6 months with, the half our engineering team and maybe be successful at creating something. It's a big deal.
But
We
Team
do talk
Fortress
about
and
it.
Dota
I
have it.
want it. You can rest assured this first tournament isn't going to have it. If we have a conversation here tonight, if Darren doesn't cut me off because I've talked too long, I would suggest we could talk about tech upgrade, and we
Yes.
could potentially talk about what that. I mean, it might be minorly related to your subject, so I don't have a very good answer for you other than like, oh my God, that would be great, and wow, is that a lot of work?
You want it as bad as they do.
I need an engineer here
Mhm.
to really kind of explain to you what that would take. It's a big undertaking. It's quite impressive, actually, that some of these other FPS games have it, but it's not every other. I mean, let's be clear about that. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, it'd be tough to list off a good 6, major FPS products that have it. Call of Duty, Halo, Counter Strike.
Team Fortress 2, Dota, World of Tanks.
World of Tanks.
Don't get into the MOBAs. Don't get
War
into the
Thunder.
MOBAs.
No,
World of Tanks.
we're there. I mean,
Yeah.
No, I mean, list off FPSs. So you got your Halo, you got your Counter Strike, you got your
World of Tanks.
Call of Duty. Well, I mean, Call of Duty. Okay, World of Tanks. Sure, they're like us on FPS. You got 4, 5, 6. I mean, yes, I said
We
half
need
a
it.
dozen. Maybe I'm a little light at a half a dozen, but 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, it's not every single FPS.
Angry
It's-
Birds has it. There you go.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. Drop the mic. I'm sorry. I'm gonna publicly apologize now. I shouldn't have said.
I got-
said. It's easy.
It's recognized as being an incredible feature, and it will. And
Yeah,
when-
it's hard to state how much you need. I mean, the very gist of it is that you need to not only record. You need a system that basically says we're recording every single input every player does, so that we can, replay the entire process. And we also need to store that on some server with like a 30-second delay or whatever, and let anybody in the world access that delayed inputs to like replay the information to them. So it's a lot. We didn't start creating our game 4 years ago with that in mind.
No problem.
That's
Next
Phil,
question.
do you have an epic question?
Yeah,
You better
I
have
do
a
now.
freaking epic question, man.
You're an ass.
Better
but,
be
you
as
know.
epic as replays is all I'm saying.
So Zordacrone asks, is PGI working on some optimization for saving mech loadout so it doesn't take 5 minutes? Now, the reason he's bringing this up, Russ, is the more mechs you have, which is what you guys want, right? The more people buy mechs, the longer it takes to save. I have this happen, but he did ask the question.
Yeah.
Is this something you guys have looked at?
I'm sorry. Please repeat.
It's basically just about the long save time when you have a bunch of mechs, right, Phil? That's what
Yeah,
you're...
I mean, basically, the more mechs you have, the longer it takes to save.
Yes. Yeah. No. I'm sorry. I've got you. Yes. Again, I feel like that's related to the tech upgrade conversation, but it doesn't have to be. It's one of those things that I feel like if when we do the big tech upgrade, we are going to make sure that we're going to try our best to make sure that's a part of our big upgrade plan. We do know why it takes so long. We are committed to. We think we can fix it. There was a while ago when I had Nima in particular working on it, but we ended up having to work on a bunch of other priority items from HSR to I can't remember what, taking us through to Steam launch. We understand why it's taking too long, and it is a fixable item. It's just not a super easy fix. It does take a lot of rework and a lot of rejiggering of what we care about at what particular points when you load up your entire inventory. Very simply, it's like there are moments when we need to load all of your inventory, and even in that case, we can be smarter about how we load your entire inventory and how we stream in your entire inventory. And then there's other moments when you save new changes. We don't need to necessarily reload or care about your entire inventory, yet we do. So it's fixable. It can be fixed. It's going to take some dedication, and I think that we hope that we can fix something here, this year. I guess I'll just kind of throw that as a general term, and I hope that whether that happens with a tech upgrade or otherwise, I hope we can fix that. It is something that we can be improved.
Awesome. So now you keep mentioning the tech news. We're getting a lot of questions about CryEngine update. Do you want to just get into the technical aspect that you're talking about, or do you want to save that for another time?
Talk to us, tech.
Talk tech? Do you have it
Yeah,
in
that's
you?
a tough one because I don't know what to say because I don't have the final answers yet. It could potentially take as long as middle of March, which is only 3 weeks away, to find out, to make a final decision, and that goes to both a Crytek major engine upgrade that is. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say anything yet, or if that's even official or whatever. So I won't say much anymore, except that they are showing or announcing some sort of major engine upgrade at GDC, which I don't even know if that's public knowledge, but obviously will be very soon. So I don't think I'm way offside saying that. And so that is something that we need to assess. We're also doing a full assessment right now of another, believe it or not, a completely different technology. And there's a chance that the entire product could be shifted at this point to a completely different engine technology, believe it or not. So it turns out that we feel there's a very good chance that the upgrade, even to the very latest and greatest Crytek update, could be close to or nearly as significant of an overall effort as upgrading to this other engine technology. So it's a big decision. It's something that is going to be, who knows? It could be 6 to 10 plus months of effort. But there's a lot of for us. We feel like, of course, that MechWarrior Online should be viable for at least another 4+ years, 4 or 5, maybe more. And we've existed on this particular engine technology. Essentially, we've done a few minor upgrades, but really for like a full, well, I mean, 5.5 years at this point. So I think it's safe to say when you look at DirectX 12, physically based rendering engine technologies, VR headsets, I mean, I think MWO needs at least one more major engine upgrade to be viable for its lifetime product. It could only be halfway through its lifetime, much to the dismay of those that tell us we're always within 3 hours of our, demise. I think we still have another 4+ years of life in this product at a minimum. And so I think we need another major engine upgrade, at least one more major engine upgrade in its lifetime. So that's something we don't know about yet, but I believe will be solidified within the next 30, 40 days, fairly soon. And so that plays into all those aspects, like I said. I mean, all the modern engines have physically based rendering. We don't do that with our version of Crytek. DirectX 12, full VR headset support. We have some VR headset support that we built in ourselves, but if we want to fully support all of the headsets, so there's a number of upgrades that would come with a new engine upgrade, and it really would, put us in a position to, go the rest of the lifetime of this product. We need
Dude,
at least one more major upgrade.
You do realize, like, a few town halls ago, you were like, nah, it's not. Now you're like, blowing it out of the water. Is it just me?
He's trying to outdo himself.
He's like
with every town
downplaying
hall.
it, but it's like,
know.
it may
He's
happen.
dropping
And then
bombs
he's like,
saying-
fucking 30 days from now, the shit's, good. And it's like,
I know.
anyways, it is pretty cool. I
love
mean,
it.
at the end of the day, what you guys want is a product that it runs well on all spectrums of, computers. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's potentially someone who has an older computer, you want it to run well. And, but holy crap, man. I'm just going to go out on a limb, and I know what engine you're talking about, but let's just, it is what
Anyway.
it is.
Yes. So pretty big news there.
All right, so I'm going to ask the next question because he always calls me out on this. This is from Dirty Scrub Casual, because apparently this is my second or third Twitch account, and he says, chat functionality and windowed UI improvements.
There's been a lot of people asking about chat functionality.
But they're all my
improvements.
alts, so there's that.
So Russ, chat functionality improvements. Anything on the horizon?
He's like, I hate you.
Is that like in-game chat?
Yeah, in-game
right
chat,
on
the-
the-
Well, no, in Mech Lab as well. I mean, it's one of the, and I would
that's
say
what I
even
mean,
Mech
yes.
Lab,
Mech
Yeah,
Lab is
being the
priority.
biggest one.
I don't have much to share here today other than what I've said before is we would agree that, ideally there's a chat window present in all screens. It'd be great if you could, hear from your unit and your faction saying, please get to this planet straight away, even if you're not in the faction screen. I know that's not the way it is now, but I don't have that work isn't scheduled at this point. I'll put it that way. We agree with that notion, but right now it feels like it'll be at least a few months before I can, focus on that.
All right, just to let everybody know, once you ask your question in chat, our mods are cutting and pasting that chat into a document. You don't need to repeat your questions. We get them, and we've got them. CK16, you keep asking this one. I'll just cover it real quick. If Russ disagrees, he can step in before we get to the next question. You're saying, are we going to get every pre-3053 chassis into the game before we move on beyond 3053? The answer is no. We've already moved beyond 3053 in a few special instances. But no, that's a ton of mechs. We will move forward, but there's no formula. So if you're asking like what mechs are going to be selected, as we've spoken about tonight, that's still being decided month to month and so forth by Russ and the team. Is that right, Russ?
Yeah, it's a good answer. I mean, I do want to iterate that the answer is no. I think when I said that 3053 base chassis, people took that a little too far. It doesn't necessarily mean for sure. I mean, if the initial variant is not due until early 3060s, doesn't mean it's out of the question. Absolutely not. But I guess I just said that there's a little bit of OCD at play here for myself and the other guys involved internally, and it does feel weird to leave perfectly
Mechs
good
behind.
mechs, perfectly good, cool Omni mechs and mechs that are pre 3053 prior. But I will say that will happen for sure. I mean, there's just some that are less interesting than say, some other mechs that are post 3053. So again, as an example, MadCat MK2. I met for like 2 hours today about that. It's on the cusp. So I'll just let that hang.
Wow.
Will it happen right away or will it be a little longer? I don't know right now. I literally do not know. But even as of today, it was right on the cusp. So that should at least answer your question to say, it doesn't mean we have to get all through those other mechs first, or another year has to pass by before we'll consider it, or anything like that. There's no hard set rule. Just like, you know what? It's right there. It's on the cusp. But is the time right now, or should we do these 4 Omnimex first, or this or that? We're still debating it, and I hope people can appreciate that.
Totally. That is, I think, very reasonable. Thank you for the question, CK.
All right, next question we
Got the
have
next
is from Kirionoski, and he says, the current tier system is designed to only move you up. Will there be a revamp of the tier system to better tracking players' skill level instead of how well the team performed?
Just on a side note, I mean, I have seen people go down tiers. I've seen people go from 3 to 4, 4 to 5. So maybe in general, that's what he's saying. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll say what I said before. I think really quickly, it's like I think the notion that it only takes you upward is a little bit overplayed. I've seen players that are fairly, let's call them, hashtag mediocre. They're going to hang out in tier 3 for a good long while, almost stall out there because that's kind of where they, belong. But yes, if if you play enough matches, there's no doubt that I think the formula is a little bit skewed towards winning still. So I've talked to Paul about that. We've been debating it, and I'll bring it up again. I do feel like we should probably tweak it a little bit so that it's kind of more prone towards just personal match score versus win and loss. And that was the notion. I think it's still a little bit prone towards the winning team, which I understand why, but we could tweak it a little bit so it's almost really what I think people are asking for. It's extremely agnostic to whether you won or lost. It's really your own personal match score, period. And that's okay. I kind of get that. I mean, yeah. And yeah, I think those players that are like legitimate tier 1, they've hit tier 1 anyhow. And those that are like kind of right in the middle are tier 3. And there's probably like a segment of the players that, kind of feel maybe even trapped in like tier 2 when they really kind of feel like they're tier 3 players, and maybe that's kind of the biggest notion. So anyhow, I think I'm open to extra feedback there, but I think we can make a tweak to that system, and I'll try to bring it up again in sometime in the near future to see if we can't tweak it.
All right, that sounds good. Keep those questions coming in, guys. We are nearing. Gosh dang!
I told you it was happening.
I was like, no way, we're going that long again.
We're doing it.
You're not gonna ask me something else that I've already answered.
Russ,
like
is it time?
No.
Russ, can you tell him to drink?
Well,
He won't
actually-
listen to me. I mean,
Do you want me to get more?
dude, you're not even slurring. I mean, come on, bro. Do you even
I'm not
macro?
slurring, but like, you know what? Tell you what,
You are drinking
when
Corona.
Darren is like hammered.
Oh God!
You are drinking
No,
Corona. I
we
mean,
don't want that.
Yeah, Corona. I'm
Yeah,
basically
you're
digesting this stuff
drinking-
as quick as I can drink.
You're drinking
man.
Corona. I'm sitting here taking shots of whiskey, and you want
I
to
know
get on?
this is like
like once every
4.6
3 hours.
man.
Once every 3 hours doesn't count. I mean, that's
I'm a responsible drinker. Shut up. Okay, so the next question is from Merwin. He asks, and this has been asked before, Russ, but they want to know, and he's not the only one, about the stock mech button in private matches. Stock mechs. They want the stock mechs. Russ,
Yeah,
you gonna give them the stock mechs?
I need to actually bring that up again with someone. I haven't in a really long time.
So much to do, so little time. Yeah, I get it. So it's on the list still. Russ will maybe, depending on the dick pic that you send him, move it up the list. We will see. Remember, along with those pics that you're sending, Russ, also be sure
just for the record, I am heterosexual, but
we knew
don't
that
send
you're married.
Don't send the pics. That would just be probably confusing to my wife and others, and I could probably avoid that confusion.
Hashtag impressive.
Okay, we won't bring it up anymore.
But yes, okay, okay. Oh my God. Okay, I'm taking a note. I'm just gonna say again, and I think people understand this, but the only thing we can do quickly would be, just so people don't get confused, there would never be a stock mech mode in public queue, because that would be a totally different matchmaking bucket.
It'd be insane.
It would only be in private matches.
Yes.
It would only be on a stock mech. So meaning, as you guys know, there is a huge difference between a stock Jenner, a stock Hunchback, and a stock Stormcrow, or even some Innersphere mechs that just happen to come with endo and ferrofibers and double heat sinks and whatever, just because they did, at the time. And so if we had a stock mech mode, it would literally be like a flag, and it's just like, hey, load these mechs in their stock configuration. So that would be easy for us to add that kind of a flag, fairly easy. It would be up to you, the players, to then say, hey, these are the mechs that are allowed. Because if you want us to then say, okay, create a stock mech mode, but also give us the option to say only, these mechs are allowed, and only tech, before 3025 or 3015 or that's 10 times a feature, and we're not going to get that done. If you want me just to create a stock mech mode, which just tells the DS, say, no matter what their loadout is for the mech, ignore their loadout, or we're just going to load the stock loadout. We can do that.
They are
but then
following
you
up.
guys would say, okay, cool, we have a stock mech mode now, so therefore we're only allowing Hunchbacks and
I think,
these and those.
to be fair, Russ, we did ask you this last time, and that was the exact response that they said, we don't give a shit. And you said, all right. So
yeah, they don't care. They said
they don't give a shit. They don't care. They don't give a. They don't care.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I totally failed. So
taking you to task. All right, let's drink some more. Let's drink. All right, this is getting fun. Phil, you got another question? Let's load him up with another.
I've got questions all day,
everywhere.
Man.
We got questions up to our ears. So where
literally,
are they?
No, hold on. This doc, I'm looking at Zoef and Wingbreaker have it literally.
Yeah,
all right.
Hey, hold on real quick. Let's thank these two guys for helping us a ton tonight. Thank you for the moderators, Zoef and Wingbreaker. We appreciate your help. Now, Phil, get on to the next question.
I'm just
or
reading
if you
one.
Don't have
Hold on.
Here's a quick one. Russ, are there any plans to make clan mastery packs for the Direwolf or Timberwolf in the store for MC? That was from Devil Warwolf.
Well, the current definition of a mastery pack is to have both a standard variant, a hero variant, and a champion. So that kind of rules out master packs for clans until such time as they have all three. So it like for instance the Kodiak, which has a hero mech, and then we could, after it's been released for a while, create a champion version of one of the favorites of players. Then we could create a mastery bundle. So
cool.
Yeah, for the Timberwolf and stuff, it's going to take us. We already have a champion, as you know. We need a hero. So yes. It kind of comes back to that hero.
We need a hero. Earlier. Yes, we do. I'm singing. See, this is what happens when I drink.
You know what?
Take me to a karaoke bar.
You guys are like the kind of guys that smoke like parsley and pretend like it's weed or something. Like, come on.
Whoa!
Let's see your empties, man.
Whoa! You want to see my
See,
bags
everyone
of-
believes
You
me
know,
that I've been drinking since
it's all
we
fun
were-
and games until you get taken down by a
You know,
guy
this
who's
is what
5'7" in real life, and then he pins you to the ground, and you're like, this is my life right now. All right, so I got a
You know
next
what?
question.
I might take a screenshot right now of my recycling bin just to prove to you guys.
Ooh, Coronas hashtag
Oh my goodness.
that guy. We had a good time, by the way, up in Vancouver. I don't
Everyone's
know.
starting to get the impression that I'm like a mean drunk now.
We're
I'm
all
not.
mean drunk.
It's not like that.
Hold on,
It's like
hold
a
on.
Standard.
Where,
I mean,
who was your pale bear? I'm not gonna say his real name, but pale bear. You're like, what are you drinking right there? Is that empty? What the hell?
We had
that's
some
probably
good
because I
times.
gave him a hard time. You know, Canadians, we like our beer. Apparently, I'm discovering that.
All right, so oh, this is
I'm
actually a good
taking-
one.
I'm taking pictures
When-
of my bags of oregano here.
Okay, so you mentioned 2K textures earlier. Now, when will all IS mechs and/or clan? By the way, Steiner camo, have you given Lauren a raise? Because that Steiner camo is fucking fantastic on the I want it on the cicada like now. So when are all of the IS and/or / clan mechs allowed? Because if I'm role playing an IS mech warrior and I capture a clan mech, I should be able to have a Steiner camo on that mech.
Patterns
and it is
for everyone.
even though I'm Davian, the Steiner it just looks fantastic. Does anybody else agree? When is that gonna happen?
Phil, what is your question, man?
I know, right?
What
Does
should
he know
I
how to-
do? Give everyone free shit? What are you saying?
No. When is
He
the
wants to know when the camo patterns, the faction camo patterns, are going to be available on all mechs, not just the
Yeah.
most recent
hashtag?
ones.
You
Okay.
did say drink, so you know.
Yeah, good question. Good question. I mean, it's basically we fight about this internally every week. Every week at our production meeting on Wednesdays, I'm like, "What the fuck, man? Like, what the hell? When are we gonna have these things? God
That's
damn
how
it."
he begins
You
every
know,
production
seriously, it's like
What the
I
fuck?
get tweets about this. What the fuck? What's going on? It's a bandwidth issue. You know, we're creating these new mechs. They're making every time we make this, you know, the Warhammer and the Marauder and the Rifleman, the Phoenix Hawk and the Archer and the Kodiak. Every one of those mechs, as you know, currently has been releasing with full texture support. So we're no longer creating a backlog or deepening our hole. So every time a mech gets released, let's take the Rifleman for example, it's got full texture support. Like full, meaning it's got all the faction skins, all the other skins. Even the hero mech can take off its hero skin for other skins. Even the collector's version can take off its special skin and put on any skin you want. So it's got full skin support. So basically, it's a matter of we're keeping up 100% now with all the new mech releases of making sure every new mech has 100% full skin support. But it's a matter of getting back to those other ones and giving them the full support. So we have been looking to hire another texture artist now for a few months, a number of months. I don't know what to say about that except we are close, so close. Like, oh my god, we're like on top of it. We're gonna get another texture artist, and we're gonna double our capacity in that aspect, and take care of it. So, when I don't even know, man. Hopefully by summer, by like late spring, like soon, like straight away, as soon as I can possibly manage. Like I'll fight every week and make this shit happen.
Are you still taking applications right now?
Yeah, man. Sure, we are. Blow my socks
Phil,
off.
are you gonna apply?
Show up.
No. I'm just saying. Last time he was like, "Fucking send in an application." I
If
didn't
you're
know.
out there and you've got talent that could be applicable to game design, then send your resumes in.
Look, we're always hiring.
By the way, I just
make
took
it
another
happen.
shot. So I hope you guys are working on your next beer, is all I'm going to say.
You know what? Your shots are like
Equal
watered
4 of your
down.
beers. You're drinking like beer flavored water. dude.
Whatever,
I don't know what
Treebeard.
I admit, but have other beer here. And plus, I'm drinking like 3 an hour. So what are you doing, man?
All right, all right.
And you were
Oh,
here. You were at the office.
yes, I know. You guys have quite
We know how
the
to put it
stash.
down, man.
You do.
You know, all you guys out there in China who came to the launch party, thanks for coming. That was a good time, right?
That was the
I mean,
best
the
time.
food was excellent. Oh my goodness. The beer was great. I mean, the alc was outstanding. Oh, I'm so ready for the next one. We should have one like mid-year.
Dude, I could do them every month. But yes, I agree. I am ready for the next one. That's one of the reasons why I'm excited about the tournament, because we will all be gathering at some point somewhere. Let's do another question. Russ, next question is, are inverse kinematics still a possibility in the future?
I think
That's
he
from
answered that.
Ale
He
Stingray.
he answered
Did he?
that earlier. Yeah, pertinent questions. What?
Another one. Oh my
I'm
god.
drinking. This is
Oh,
your
What the
fault.
fuck?
I
See what I work with every day, Russ.
don't
I
think I'm
mean,
even gonna answer that because I don't even
Ale
know.
Stingray, we're not going to answer your question
It's easy, you
because
know.
Phil's drinking.
It's like so easy, man. Actually, I don't even know.
So easy, dude.
You know, I don't know. That I'm not gonna answer that one. I'm
Okay.
unprepared to answer that question. I've asked the engineers and they said something and I don't remember what they said. So I'm just gonna
all right.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Is it time?
Best
Remember,
answer
we have
ever.
a whole new collision change coming in the March patch. Don't underestimate that. Those pebbles are nothing to you. Nothing. You will walk over those pebbles like nothing, man.
All right, so you've had time. I have a question for you, Russ, and you've had time now to play on Polar Highlands, and this is a little bit of an NGNG podcast here, Darren. Now that you've had time to play, what are your impressions? Are you happy with the outcome of the map and the what's been going on? Play, talk, meow.
Well, you know what? Combine this into just a map talk in general, because I've also wanted to know, what you guys are seeing with the 1v1, 2v2, 4v4 maps that are in there in the private matches. So yeah, just maps in general. Definitely Polar. I'm interested in what the feedback is on that as far as the numbers you guys have. Russ, your thoughts on maps and how they're being played and so forth.
Well, I mean, now that Polar's been out for a while, and it's settled into about third most voted for map at the moment. And I think
What's first?
that yeah, hang on a second. I think and this kind of it's unfair to say this because it's kind of based on the weighting that we give the mech. So we have two things to play with. I mean, people can vote, but we also have a weighting system that says how often it shows up in the vote. So obviously, if I change the weighting of the map, it's going to show up in the vote less frequently, and therefore it's going to show up less in the map. So I think that, or sorry, less in the percentage of how often it's voted for. Once we get the new change into the voting screen, where it's truly, people are hopefully much more voting for because they can't see the percentages before they vote. They're going to actually more truly vote for actually what they care about and what they actually want to play. That will give us a little more true percentages than we have today. So right now, though, based on the weighting, Canyon Networks is first. Oh, geez. Canyon Networks,
Love it.
Mining Collective.
Love it.
Yeah, HPG, if it gets in there. And then Polar Highlands is number 3 right now. And it does have a higher weighting being a newer map. But then it doesn't, there's several maps like, Caustic Valley and, I don't know, a few others that have just as high of a setting as Polar Highlands, and they're down near the bottom, but yet Polar Highlands is at number 3. So yeah, I would say Polar Highlands, if all things being equal, it's probably still at least a top 5 map if all things were set to an even setting. So between 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there. What would I say? I like it. I have a lot of fun on it. I haven't experienced LRM hell on it personally. I don't know why necessarily. Maybe it's because I have unlimited resources and I run, radar deprivation on every single mech I run. And that's fair of me to state that because I am not personally, I am not an LRM lover. I don't really use them very much, and I don't like them getting hit by them. But I also have a little more of a overarching perspective, of course, because of my position. So I'm not overly prone to like, freaking out and saying, fuck you, cowards, and the opposite. So, so, I don't try to get too overly worked up about it. I like it, and I've had a really good time on it. I've enjoyed the what I describe as the repositioning gameplay, where it's like you find a position, you get a position on some enemy mechs, you fire, and immediately you back off and reposition yourself and you fire again. And then you reposition and fire again and reposition and fire again. And that's the way I would describe the gameplay on Polar Highlands for me. I haven't experienced any other gameplay in any other map that quite tells you, and maybe that's just my style as a player, is I'm kind of like repositioning myself in kind of mid range to get a few shots off, then reposition, and that on top of radar deprivation kind of keeps me away from the straight LRM hell. So yeah, for me, I would probably rate it in a top one third map perspective. And that's a really long way of answering your question. Does that answer it?
I
Was
think
I talking to myself? Okay, there we go.
no.
Hey,
I
hey.
think LRM specific talk it's a rabbit hole as far as skill level. I think it's one of those things where at the top tier side, you don't see LRMs used specifically because direct fire is superior to LRMs as indirect fire, and at the lower end spectrum, you see it and it can be used very effectively. And so it's one of those things where in public and community warfare, depending on the map, depending on the game mode, depending on the community warfare map, it may or may not be used. And so it's one of those things where LRMs in general, I mean, you sort of branched off there from Polar Highlands. I've really enjoyed Polar Highlands. I said this on the podcast. It's one of the most unique, dynamic play sets of different match styles I've seen. You may get rained on. You may have close range battles. You may have long range snipe fest. I've seen every single bit. But the one thing that's unique about Polar Highlands that I still speak about is that where the fight starts, it doesn't end. You keep moving. It's completely crazy, and I've really enjoyed that about Polar Highlands. Um, but LRMs is a different topic of discussion, and all I've got to say is hashtag drink. So there's that.
I can't.
Yeah, I guess I brought up LRMs because a lot of people have been. If anyone hates Polar Highlands, it's been it's been presented in the notion of LRM hate, right? I mean, that's the only
Mostly,
really
yes.
that's the only real hate for Polar Highlands is if you really truly hate LRMs, then you may not like Polar Highlands. But otherwise, it's a good map. It's pretty. It looks nice. There's a big open space, and there's a lot of different gameplay. And yeah, I've seen some. I just love that sort of like and I have really enjoyed the fact that every time I play it, the average match length seems to be probably even 3 to 4 minutes longer, which me personally I enjoy. It's been fun to kind of see these repositioning kind of firing lines that end up taking 3 4 minutes longer than your normal match, which I personally found to be enjoyable.
No, I think Polar Highlands has been a great example of. Yeah, I'm okay. I'll say it. I'll say it live in front of 800 people. I think it's one of your better maps. Now, as far as LRMs, I think one of the topics of discussion here is that at higher level play, you don't see LRMs being used because direct fire is so strong, lasers are so strong, GOS is so strong. UAX and everything is so strong compared to LRMs where you can easily negate it with ECM. And that with coordination, movement, organization. So it's
If
one
you
of
don't
those.
have cover, use a bigger mech, a friend.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of cover on Polar
Yeah,
Highlands.
no,
Now,
I
if
agree.
you run out to the open, guess what? You're in the open. Guess what's going to happen to you? So if it's one of those things where I think it's one of those harsh realities where if you do go out in the middle of open and you are exposed, you're gonna die, and you're gonna die a very quick death. But it's one of those things where there's really great aspects of polar, and of course, when you're exposed on polar, it's the exact opposite, where you could potentially die really quick. And it just sort of puts the emphasis on, are your lights, your mediums, your heavies, whoever's being scout at the time, relaying the information of, hey, targets are in I-9, Hotel 9, Hotel 10, or whatever. And if you don't get that information, well, a bad day's about to happen.
Well, I mean, I guess I'll summarize it like this real quick: is like it's not perfect, but nothing is perfect for everybody. And if our new map coming out in March is anywhere near as well received as Polar Highlands was, even with all the polarizing opinions, if it's equivalently received, then I'll be very happy because I think for all of its, I guess, polarizing opinions on various things, I think Polar Highlands is the I think it's a great map because there are those that really love it, and there are those that are okay with it, and there are those that don't like it. But when it comes to maps, if we can get the same amount of people to, if the same percentages of love hate relationship with every map we release, then I think we're doing a good job of releasing maps.
I agree. And I would like to point out we're getting a little bit of flack for drinking and having fun. I do want to remind you all that this is the end of a very long work week for all involved. We've been going for over 4 hours, full of information and new releases and stuff tonight. So we're drinking
You're
and having a
teasing,
little
right?
fun.
Are we
No,
getting flack?
no.
Come on.
So
One
please
comment, really?
give us a little slack. We're having a
Okay,
good time.
first off, we're
It's Mom-
probably
it's
having
Mama
a hell
Bear.
of a lot more fun than we actually are drunk.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It is a lot of chit chat, but come on. Who said that?
All right, guys.
Name and shame right now.
No. We don't need to do that. But just have fun with us, guys. We're having a good time. Russ is here. It's 10 p.m. on a Friday night.
Whatever, dude. It's 1 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, so we're just having a good time. Please have a good time with us. If you did miss anything from this town hall, like I said earlier, this will be up on YouTube tonight or in the morning. So if you missed anything, it will be available. And there are notes on Reddit as well. So Phil, do we have any more good questions? Like I said, we are literally
Legit.
over 4 hours. We're going on to the 5th hour now. And
Have we
I'm
won
feeling
yet? Are
my
we
turn.
winning yet?
Are we winning
Did we
yet?
win compared to last time?
Oh, man.
Wait,
Well,
And by
yeah.
the way, we can't win forever, but I'd like to win this time.
You
We're
know,
over
it
this
actually matters. Paul is actually still in the chat,
I
and
know.
Mike
Paul.
is actually in chat. And all I gotta say is this: MS, E for effort. But you guys, come on.
Anyway,
like
let's move on from that. We don't need to do that. Are there any more decent, good questions? It is up to you guys whether the good questions get asked. You need to submit them. But I know my eyes are blurring a little bit.
Seriously? Just kidding. I'm not going to give you a hard time anymore. You know what? I met Darren. He's got an impressive beard. And
That's
I gotta
all you can say about
if
me,
I could
right?
grow a beard like him, I think I'd declare myself a hipster. But I can't grow the beard
I'm a
like
prospector,
him, man.
I'm a prospector.
That's legit.
so. Anyways, I just want to say, I think we're going to wrap it up. Let's be honest. We've been going for literally 4+
No.
hours.
Well,
You
wait,
know,
hold
Darren,
on.
you know, I think
Yes.
Phil should go to bed because he lives in North
Because he's
Carolina.
in the East Coast.
No, I
No,
can
man,
I
that's
can keep
legit.
drinking.
You
No,
gotta
I'm
give him
streaming.
that. He's
I'm
in
streaming.
North
No,
Carolina.
I'm streaming. I'm playing MWO after this. So I'm gonna
He's
cicada.
going to be literally going
I'm gonna
live
show
with a
you
stream
why
right
the cicada is OP right now.
I have to sober up, man.
I'm
So
gonna
might as well
I'm
keep
gonna show
going.
you why the cicada is OP and why it's hashtag master race. That's what I'm about to show you. Actually, you know
Yeah.
what we should do is we should transfer over to MWO and have Darren and Russ in a group. And just saying.
I should take the tier 1 summoner. Did you guys see what I did earlier? To get everyone fired up for the town hall, I tweeted like, oh my god, the summoner is now a tier 1 monster. And got everyone like, you suck, really? And I was like, yeah, town hall, 6 o'clock.
Nice.
Be there.
Russ trying to troll it up like Paul. Actually, he did with that the picture of the Atlas and the Nova.
So no, I actually just
Did
had
you
a
guys like
question.
that?
It was
Yes.
Hydrocarbon says, why doesn't PGI and GNG play Community Warfare?
Ooh, good question. Because we physically can't
And we're about to physically.
break those chains. Russ, are we breaking those chains?
Well, I mean, did he seriously ask why we
No, no,
don't
no.
play
Actually, yes.
MWO?
He literally, and I quote,
I've been
why
asked
don't
that
you
before, yeah.
hashtag PGI and GNG play CW?
But they know you play, right? I mean, they say that just to kind of get us fired up, right?
Well,
I mean,
we don't.
they know you play.
We don't play it with our mains.
Yeah,
So a lot of
so
people
they
don't
have no idea.
recognize that we're playing because we're on our alts.
They're like, why do
Oh,
you
I see.
talk about Community
But you
Warfare
guys
when you
play
don't
with your
play
mains a
Community
lot.
Warfare and you guys are a
Not
bunch of
Community
idiots?
Warfare, we can't.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I think I didn't recognize the actual question there at first. I thought it was more about just like playing MWO.
No. Community
Okay.
Warfare.
Yeah, there is a bit of a an unfortunate restriction with community warfare where initially community warfare, the phase that we released, um, when was that? December 2014 or like just before the new year when the initial, I want to say phase 2, but that's kind of like a misnomer, but the initial main community warfare phase that was released, it was it was a pretty crunch development to get that sucker out before the new year. And there was sort of a decision made at the time, like, okay, how are we gonna handle, Piranha staff, and will there be any kind of notions of Piranha favoritism or playing with these guys or those guys or this problem or this concern or that concern? And we didn't have time to think about those things at that time. So it was like really simple. Piranha tagged people can't, join a faction or play for a faction or help a faction. They're like essentially, I guess you could say Comstar, but even they can't fight anybody. So essentially, the actual PGI tagged people, so all the Piranha employees and NG&G that was tagged PGI with the little PGI skull logo, couldn't play Community Warfare. Essentially, it couldn't even, log in and like monitor the star map. So all of us were forced for Community Warfare to play some alt, tags. I will say that for phase 3, we have tried to address that completely, where at the very least, Piranha is going to be able to take on contracts and, play for factions. It's not the complete freedom we were hoping for, where there was more of a, embedded reporter stuff that NGG mentioned to me, where it's like we just play for anybody, anytime. It's not quite that, but essentially we can accomplish that now, even if we do have to do some sort of like, CSR faction resets, here and there. We can essentially play and be involved with anybody after phase 3. So we'll be able to achieve kind of the goal we want after phase 3 and play a lot more community warfare.
Which is with us.
With
I mean,
main accounts.
yeah, with us, Darren. We've talked to Russ about being sort of embedded, being able to play with you guys and report on what's going on, and obviously with CW being what it is, being owning to the planets and stuff like that being so important. Now is the time to really shine. So, anyways, I'm excited because I play on my alt, but a lot of people actually don't even know that because I don't stream it most of the time. So
Likewise.
it's one of those where a lot of people are like, oh, you never stream. It's like, actually, yeah, you're right. I don't stream it, but I'm on there. You just don't know it. So.
All right, guys, we have officially, I checked the last town hall. We have beaten the last town hall by about 7 minutes. I am going to call it tonight. This is over because we want to be able to beat this again, obviously, right? In a future town hall.
On you.
Russ needs to get home.
So I think the next town hall should be like all in person. Just saying.
Yeah, maybe. So anyway, again, want to say thank you to everybody that showed up. We had over 1,000 people for almost the entire show. We are peaking out at just over 1,200. Again, reminder, Phil is going to be going live with some MWO right after this, so please stick around. Big thank you to Zoaf, Zoof, and Wingbreaker. That was 3 people, Zoaf, Zoof, and Wingbreaker. Thank you for helping out behind the scenes. Thank you to everybody in chat that got us over 10,000 followers tonight. We're at actually 10,053 flash pictures of Phil. Anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you, Paul, for hanging out in chat. Thank you, Mike Forrest, for hanging out in chat. And the biggest thank you of all, Russ, thank you for taking this amount of time at the end of your week in the evening to sit down with us and go 4+ hours again.
So, Russ,
And forcing me to drink. Thank you for the peer pressure.
I'm gonna stream a little bit after this. You're more than welcome to join. Just let me know. Hashtag MechPorn.
I
So-
think you have pretty good ping, Russ.
Yeah, so first off, quick shout out to Russ. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your night. And Paul, you're literally at home. Mike, you guys are at home. Thank you for taking the time out of your nights, your Friday
Seriously,
nights.
guys.
You know, every single time I hear PGI doesn't give a shit, it irks me. It's one of those things. These guys are literally at their home or still in the office giving a shit about you and getting the answers that you want. So give them that. The credit is much deserved. And of course,
Indeed.
another big shout out is to you guys, the NGNG community, the MechWarrior community, 10,000 plus followers on
You
the
guys are
channel. Where
I
we've
think we got
crested
like
over.
100 follows just tonight. Didn't
Oh
we?
no, we're well past that, sir.
Yeah.
And so that means we're gonna do a 12 to 24-hour stream because you're an
'Cause
ass.
why not?
You're an ass. That's what I mean. I'm gonna suffer.
Phil will be doing a 24-hour stream.
So
while I sleep.
we're going to transition over to MWO, but in the meantime, I just want to say thank you again to everyone that came out. You guys are awesome. Thank you again. If you are new to the channel, my name is Phil. Make sure to toss me a friend invite in game, and that is Sean Lang, SEAN space LANG. I should be inundated. We've been trying to break the UI 2.0 chat system, which we did do, by the way, in the first iteration of. But just want to say thank you. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit follow button. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook, even YouTube. Twitch sometimes sucks at life. It doesn't send out email notifications. And if you do follow us on those 3 platforms, you will be notified when we go live. But
You'll be notificated.
notified. Dude, whatever.
The drinks, man. The drinks.
I'm gonna have another one. That's what I'm gonna have. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be one of those nights. Not Pirate Phil,
I
but
hope
it's
not.
gonna be like borderline Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny
Yeah.
Depp, Pirate Phil. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Russ, you got any closing statements? Anything you want to say before we are out of here?
I just wanted to apologize for my behavior.
It was
Next time
very.
I'll be much better
It was mediocre,
and
Russ.
sober. and
Definitely mediocre. That's.
I'll drop more.
You should.
videos.
It should be an improvement. You know.
I think it was an awesome night. Had a lot of fun with you, Russ. Thank you. And I'm gonna assume I can't talk either because of the drinks, that we will do something similar to this sometime next month, about a month from now, before the next big patch. Right, Russ? I mean, we're kind of looking at maybe doing this once a month before the patch. Something.
Yeah, we should actually try to do it once a month again. I
Yes.
mean, my hope is I really like this format. I'd like if we are having a mech every month, which isn't a guarantee. Obviously, if we get into a 4 mech pack, then we won't. But I would like to announce the roadmap and these major announcements like mechs and stuff in a town hall setting. I think it works well.
All right, guys, and that's going to be it for tonight. You heard it here. We'll be here next month. We'll do another one. All kinds of cool stuff coming out. If you have not been around for the entire town hall, this will be up on YouTube later tonight or early in the morning. We promise, and it's up on Reddit. There'll be notes and so forth. Thank you again, everybody, for joining in. Thank you, everybody, helping out. Thank you, Russ. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Wing. Thank you, Zuf. And thank you, Phil, who we're now going to watch play MWO. Stick around.
All right, guys, that's gonna be it. Don't forget, click that follow button. We'll be right back. Some MechWarrior Online action is about to go down. Like, totally. It's happening.
Thanks, guys. Peace.
Later, guys.
Good night.